All right, so I'm just going to dive into reading, and I have a lot of pieces picked out, and I actually get startled if people clap. So if you could just save all of your claps for at the end and go crazy at the end, and not clap in between, I would appreciate that. I know it's a weird request because us poets like to get paid attention to. So, so yeah, I'm just gonna get started here. So this first one is called Marigold's Cracking. If I am ever in a coma, someone, please shave my legs. If I ever wake up, I don't want to be more disheveled than I am currently. If I'm lying there awake but despondent, perhaps aware but appearing unconscious, someone, please read me poems. If I'm in a catatonic state, the least you could do is brush back my hair, your hand briefly touching my face. Tell me I'm in a dream for now, only to awaken to the sound of marigolds cracking open upon the windowsill. Me and the wind didn't practice.
Those clips coming
Yeah, that's true. All right. I see why you were sitting the way you were sitting. So I made this my first little booklet ever for Insomniac-a-thon, which was 57 hours of straight programming in Louisville. So I'm just going to read the whole dang thing. So it's called Up All Night. It's got these fancy pillows on the cover, public domain, so I can't get in trouble, right? And so I'm just going to read them all. So this first one is called As the Old Crone Weaves Her Web. Those late nights that echo back, they don't give the same song as was sung the night before. I can't recall the words anyway. Lost upon a long gone wind, the lyrics silver spun into the hymns of the being I've become that has calmly moved on from the wasted nights, the excruciatingly bright mornings that pounded at the door so insistently. Although when I answered, those thuds at the door forgot what they were asking for. Youth spent and put away on the shelf for safekeeping as the old crone weaves her web inside my chest, hoping for prey. And then this one is modeled after The Red Wheelbarrow, if you're familiar with that poem. It's by Ralph Waldo Emerson. So this is called The Unwed Table. The coffee steam slowly lifts its tired mug, leaving a dark ring upon the unwed table. And this one is called She Merely Nodded When I Said Good Morning. The sky has tattered wings this morning, the orange dreamsicle cotton candy variety that stretches and floats beyond the point of horizon, tapers out almost to the point where one could reach out and touch the softness of its tendrils hanging down. It makes you wonder where the sky has been flying off to arrive in such a state of disrepair. Surely she will mend herself by mid-afternoon. Always around lunchtime, she regains her strength to pull us through the rest of the day. And this one is called The Poem Escapes Me. And this, I think, happens to a lot of writers where you just think of a line or a whole poem at a very inconvenient time and it's just gone. So the poem escapes me. I thought of a poem on my way home in the car, and when I turned to look at it when I parked, it had gone. Must have snuck out the window when I was daydreaming, looking up at the yellow sky with the sun in my tired eyes. You know I like to run the AC and roll the windows down on those hot summer days on the way home. A small luxury I afford myself for windswept hair and chilly feet after a long day of gazing into the abyss of nowhere near retirement, of 2 short weekends teasing luridly from the beginning of a long week. The poem escapes me regularly, as life does at times when I get too focused on staring internally, not looking at the sun, the stars, the people who surround me. The air hanging desperately in spaces, just waiting to be discovered, were every day a Saturday with no plans. And then this last one is called Listen, Silent. Is it a coincidence that listen and silent contain the same letters? We should appreciate the value of a pause, a quiet repose, an intentional breath, to gather peace for the trials ahead. And that's probably the only time I'll read a whole entire book for anybody, but that was fun. And then, as Joan said in my intro, this is just a reader's copy. It's not published yet, but I will have it in probably a couple of weeks. The official first reading for it will be at Backspace Gallery for the second Thursday spoken word series on October 10th. I'll be reading with A.S. Coomer, who's an awesome Louisville, or is he Elizabethtown? He's in the Louisville area. He's a musician and writer. So this book is themed on, it has the Bride of Frankenstein on the cover. The title is Monstrous, and it's mainly about females in pop culture who are aging and going through different stages of menopause. So not all of them are about that. Some of them, there's a Frankenstein one in there. And this one is about the Bride of Frankenstein. And Mary Shelley's 227th birthday was a couple of days ago, so I thought it was appropriate. I'm going to read a couple of them from this one, and then if you want to hear the whole thing, I'll be reading that October 10th at Backspace Gallery. So this one is called Ms. Frankenstein Goes to the Singles Bar. After her divorce, the Bride of Frankenstein changed her name to Chastity. She began wearing loud clothes that clutched at her body, accentuating her inherited curves. She had surgery to remove the scars. She purchased a rather expensive hair straightener and pressed her hair daily, wearing it straight down her back and tossing it wildly about in conversation. Ms. Frankenstein moved to Tampa. She worked on her tan, fanning her new body with ornate hands. She's tossed away traditional patriarchal ideas of matrimony like so much salt over her shoulder in hopes of finding a younger man, perhaps a successful holistic doctor. Ms. Frankenstein goes to the singles bar every Thursday night. She wears the tightest of tops, a corset that would rival the placement of any organ in its way. Her hair teased up to the ceiling. The higher the hair, the closer to Prometheus. She makes sure that every patch of skin that shows has a healthy, lively glow. She uses that retinol eye cream her young girlfriend at the Y suggested, patting it into her dark circles with just the touch of her pinky finger, or someone's pinky finger anyway. She elbows up to the bar, tossing back her hair. She orders a Bloody Mary, extra spicy. Ms. Frankenstein scans the room silently, her eyes reeling yet friendly. At the end of the night alone, she goes back to her small apartment. It echoes like a mausoleum. She decides to stay up till sunrise, hungrily waiting for the milkman. And I thought this one was appropriate for this weekend because it's been freaking hot. So it's called Catwoman Has a Bitchin' Hot Flash in Her Patent Leather Catsuit. She flies through the air, dark and mysterious, her catsuit shining in the fading sunset. Strangely enough, again, she can't get that Bruce guy out of her head. She turns to do another lap of rooftop leaps around Gotham's business district. Not seeking out Bruce's seventh floor penthouse consciously, but there she goes again, doing acrobatic flips against his window, hoping maybe he is changing into Batman for the evening. Her face masked, but flustered, she does a couple of impressive backflips and then whips off her mask. Her hair drenched, she sighs and grabs a towel from her well-worn leather fanny pack. Menopause is no joker, one of life's biggest riddles. Catwoman wishes she had chosen a more suitable to her present age alter ego when she was a younger supervillain. Perhaps a mysterious, fan-clad lady of the night. Or maybe Batwoman. Yeah. Maybe she could seduce Bruce and convince him to live in tandem. She could bring him over to the dark side of the veil. Batman and Batwoman happily ever after. And this one is a memorial poem for my friend Joshua Myers. It's called Who Would Have Thought That Midlife Could Be 21? Delight in the fact that you are still around to witness the morning bird song, the cool air on your face that may be lined a little with time, but that's the success of continuing to live in this skin. We stretch this body out a bit in the wearing, like a well-loved sweater slowly losing its shape, but adored nonetheless. Soak up that morning bird song as you drive into work with the cold spring air coming in through the window, the sky just starting to lighten with the promise of a new day, the clouds wispy and inviting, the treetops reaching out in silent reverence. Revel in the fact that you too can embrace the day because you're still here to see it. You can stick your head out the window like a happy little dog, open your mouth, and maybe let the bugs get in there a little bit. They won't do much harm. Wave to the school bus driver, how you always do in your early morning routine, passing one another on the narrow county road, hoping you both have enough room to not touch the soft grass shoulder. Wave to the deer in the fields across the way, a family of them that feeds together every morning as you are drawing nearer to the beginning of something monumental. Another day here, living in this miracle that so many take for granted. Relish in the fact that you can learn anything. You can reach for aspirations folks a couple hundred years ago would have no way of attaining. You can celebrate in the joyous occasion of being a human being at this time in history. Take comfort in the knowledge that you can still shed tears for yourself or for others in moments of grief, for it is this ability to feel compassion and sorrow that makes us human. Take in that unique sensation of the grass beneath your aged hands. Feel the hum of the earth beneath your feet. Slow down and acknowledge that you are here for a purpose, if only to exist in these moments, these years we were slipshod-handed by the universe in her all-knowing wisdom.
Can we applaud yet?
She wants me to be done. Jeez. No. Oh. You'll scare me. You'll scare me. At the end. Sorry to be demanding, but yeah. This one is, Wendy was talking about keeping the flame alive. This is the most recent one. It's volume 3. It comes in this very nice chapbook format that they've printed out. And I really appreciated that mine is directly in the middle. You open it up right in the middle. Bam, there's my 2 pages. So this one is called Race for the Prize. If you leave the radio off in the morning on your drive into town, letting the silence surround, only sounds of the morning birds, the tires up against the road, the wind pressing insistently against the windshield, The soft tap of your brakes as you roll past the house whose chickens always get out, and the gray cat that bounces across the street just as you're accelerating again. Your attention turns to other things when the music isn't blaring and you're not shout, screaming, singing to yourself to block out all the morning hazy thoughts of what if and why and how. The dark canopy of trees collides with the tires busting on overfilled potholes that will soon need filled again by the county highway department's tired and overworked women and men. You drive past the house with all the wildflowers of bloom, each house awaiting tomb. A somber tune for those who must work for their daily bread instead of observing the nature we should be absorbed in. I cling to my morning like a wet apron on tired skin. Just realized I flipped the camera around. I've had just the book in front of it this whole time, so sorry. I cling to my morning like a wet apron on tired skin, suffocating in my awareness of how things ought to be. A perceived regret that cannot be placated by mother's hugs or a sucker at the end of the visit. Yet the shelf of sun plays upon the tops of the trees in the cool summer morning, the flowers all starting to open their sleepy petals, the bunnies, the squirrels, the chipmunks all waiting at the side of the road for me to pass so they can cross safely onto their morning path of forage and play. I drive into another work day. And this one, I thought I would read this one because there's a rather large migration of birds that's going to be coming through Indiana in about a week. And so this one is called The Heavy Toll of Bird Migration. As the screeching tires of deafened time stood still, the voices screamed shrilly. The nefarious cargo butted up against itself, filthy feathers exhausted from ceaseless flapping in the tarnished night. The ravens, the crows, the starlings, grackles all meld together into one terrified squawking wing atrophied with indecision. The bell tolls for no bird alone. The mass of them a blur, the bottom of their flock whitened by their above ken's excrement. They're caught up in the giant atrocities of repetitively crossing V's in the sky. Illegible, illiterate, they screech again, belligerent against this forced flight. They recall cool evenings refreshed next to the river's bed, a pillow of downy snow to rest their laurels in, as they call their brethren home to roost another day. A visage of peace amongst the tyranny of such a test of strength. Not even half will last across the climb above the roaring sea to bed broken upon a salt-licked shore. Boy, that's a dark one. I hope that bird migration goes better than that. This one is called The Age of Luck, and I had to alter one of the words. So I will say I have a broadside that I made of this. If you do buy the broadside, it does not have the word confusion in it. It's a different word that starts with a different letter. So, The Age of Luck. What I wouldn't give for the knees of a 20-year-old, the mind of a 70-year-old, and the heart of a newborn baby. A Frankenstein masterpiece of understanding and openness who can still go up and down those stairs in the apartment like a champ. I think it's natural to yearn for facets of our former selves and what we suspect our future selves to be. Life is full of a whispering mysticism. Surrender. Place a mirror up against your self-image and compare. Is it the damage that you feel that's visible, or can it be that you've been sensing this whole time is a trait that we all share? The broken night, the rush of time gone by so effortlessly, the accumulated aches, the wrinkles, small humorisms tracing a well-worn face, the universal confusion of aging. It comes for us all, if we're lucky. And then this one is about Mondays. It's called It's Your Choice. Sometimes on a Monday, I am feeling like a dairy cow farmer in the 1800s in a feral bloom of white snake root. At the start, it's a long look down the barrel of a sniper's rifle of a week. By the time Friday arrives, we are tired but rejoiceful. We are ready to rest and laugh at the black look of Monday from afar, ignoring the gratitude we should have at having any Mondays in this strange shared consciousness. The glee we should feel at getting the opportunity to see another day in the weird way that we've been gifted this life. The gardenias are still going to bloom. The garbage is still going to stink. The trees and their majestic poses, the dirty dishes waiting in the sink, the joyful laughs of chubby babies, the frightening scream of bobcats in the night, the leaves changing in the autumn, the rotten tooth just come to light, the cool breeze on tired skin, the nasty, uninvited bar fight, the dreams of childhood hose drinks, the visions of yourself in flight. Like shade on a hot day, you could turn into this comfort, or you could push it away. And I have about 5 minutes left, so let me be shocked if I time this out. 2, 3. Okay. Now this one's called The Naked Ladies Look Tired. Walking around during sunrise in Old Louisville practicing poetry while the city birds sing their urban songs, different than the country tweets I'm used to hearing. The naked ladies line the sidewalk, just waiting for the sun to touch their sweet pink petals. The dew of the morning laying upon their pollen-dusted faces like teardrops suspended in time. They look a little hungover if you ask me. Perhaps they have insomnia too. And then this one is called The Morning Field Show. Crickets, the courtesans of the morning, the slugs, salt-savoring solicitors on the sidewalk, the toad and frog, happy hoppers in the dew-covered, misty fields, up watching the sun do its daily exercise routine, climbing the clouds in the slow chin-up repetition. The morning doe with her fawns, always waiting at the blind curve tree line for my headlights, like they are traffic signs allowing her to finally cross. She blinks blankly as the ticks crawl across her snout and down her scar-spotted neck. The fawns follow faithfully into the road. All the birds of morning singing their sweet songs, competing for the morning broadcast on high, singing the nocturnal creatures a sweet and lilting lullaby. As I reach the outer edges of the forest, signs of humanity make their way into my view. A sign at the side of the road. It says, "Beware of diaper dump." Clutching my intrigue like a purse clasped in an evening stroll through a bad part of town. 10 yards later, another sign with a pile of wadded, dirty diapers laying at its feet. It says, "Who would leave diapers here, and why?" I am astounded at the correct spelling and punctuation in this country scene. Indeed, this picture captures perfectly what we of humanity have done to this place. Warning, dirty diapers ain't the worst thing we have done to this scorched land. But yet, in my tidy little universe, all of the beauty of everything is wrapped in this little city I hide within. I sing my little ditties for an ample supper. I do my work. I drive back into the woods, and I listen for more signs of wildlife. Then I'm going to read one more. It's called The Landing Gear. Tom Waits says, quite often when vultures are flying around looking for a place to land, that it takes them so long sometimes because they weigh so little, less than a pound in some cases. They have to ride the wind a certain way to negate that weightlessness. They have to surmise the tides of the sky to safely find the proper place to lay down to find these tasty treats that have perished along the devil's grass of the countryside. They get so full after they gorge themselves on this fine roadside dining that they must throw up to be able to take off again. What a way to live, to know that dinner is going to be great, but that you're going to have to barf to travel once more. I think of this as I see the graceful drift of turkey vulture in the sky, their wings rippling as their face pinched with anxiety at the thought of the landing gear failing once more. Thank you. Woo!